the warmth of a man felt after 3 years. A forbidden romance between father-in-law and daughter-in-law. At the very moment when dangerous contact that transcended the relationship of daughter-in-law and father-in-law began, inside Sunny's heart, along with moral guilt. The primal desire as a woman that had been suppressed for so long was erupting like a volcano. That night, Sunny felt the hot touch of her father-in-law, Jiho. Jiho's rough fingers, caressing her shoulders as she lay intoxicated, slipped between her blouse, and Sunny held her breath and accepted that forbidden touch with her entire body. It was the hot body temperature of a man felt. For the first time in 5 years since her husband died. Jiho thought Sunny was asleep, but Sunny was awake. But let's go back to that day to see how this forbidden night began. Before we begin the story, please subscribe and like, thank you. That morning, Sunny was preparing for the ancestral rite alone, marking the 3rd anniversary of her husband's death. Looking in the bathroom mirror and adjusting her dress. Sunny's appearance was so beautiful that her age of 38 seemed meaningless. The long years spent alone after losing her husband had made her an even more mature and profound woman. Neatly pushing back her long hair that reached her chest, Sunny looked at herself. The reflection in the mirror was still beautiful. But deep in her eyes, an indelible loneliness and emptiness resided. However, Sunny's heart was empty like the deep sea. 3 years had passed, but she suffered every night, wetting her pillow with tears because of the loneliness and suppressed desire that still couldn't be filled. The age of 38. There was still plenty of time left to love and be loved as a woman. But the fear of growing old alone like this weighed heavily on her heart. Sometimes when she suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and touched the empty bed and cold blanket, Sunny felt the instinctive desires of a woman stirring deep inside her body and even despised herself. Especially when she woke up recalling the hot nights with her husband in her dreams. The cold bed of reality felt even more cruel. On such nights, Sunny hugged her own body and quietly sobbed. She was ashamed of her desires that were still alive and breathing as a woman. And at the same time, she was afraid that those desires would all rot away like this. Then the doorbell rang, and when she opened the front door, Jiho was standing there in a neat suit. At 60 years old, Jiho was surprisingly vigorous for his age, and the deep masculine charm, refined by time, exuded from his entire body. Especially today, his appearance, dressed more neatly than usual, strangely captivated Sunny's gaze. The gray suit with neatly groomed hair, and the face where traces of time felt rather attractive, gave Sunny a strange trembling she had never felt before. "Father-in-law, you're here. Please come in." "Thank you, Sunny. You must have worked hard preparing alone." "No, it's only natural." Jiho looked at Sunny's face more carefully than usual. She had lost a little weight compared to before. But rather, this created an even more feminine and mature beauty. Especially seeing the floral dress exquisitely reveal Sunny's elegant figure. Jiho began to intensely become aware of Sunny. Not as his daughter-in-law but as an attractive woman. Her slender height with a moderately filled figure, and the profound feminine beauty created by time, roughly shook the depths of Jiho's heart. Jiho himself was startled by feeling such emotions. On one hand, he felt ashamed and embarrassed to look at his daughter-in-law with such eyes. But at the same time, he felt with his entire body the primal instincts of a man that had been deeply asleep for a long time slowly awakening. Even at the age of 60, hot blood still flowed vigorously. The two people held the ancestral rite quietly and solemnly. Watching Sunny's elegant and reverent posture as she performed the rite, Jiho found himself unconsciously controlling his breath. And the soft lines of her nape particularly caught Jiho's eyes. Throughout the ancestral rite, Jiho couldn't concentrate properly because he was conscious of Sunny. In his heart, while feeling sorry to his deceased son, at the same time, he couldn't suppress the strange feelings toward Sunny. Sunny also felt Jiho's hot gaze with her entire body. Detecting a strange heat in Jiho's gaze that was clearly different from usual, her heart pounded inexplicably. After the ancestral rite ended and during the cleanup, a subtle and dangerous tension that had never existed before flowed in the air between the two people standing side by side in the kitchen. Watching the back of Sunny doing the dishes, Jiho fell deeper into dangerous imaginations. The slender and elegant neckline and shoulder line, and the mature woman's figure hidden under the dress, came particularly clearly into Jiho's eyes. Especially the sides and waistline of Sunny, revealed whenever she raised her arms while washing dishes, stimulated Jiho's imagination. Jiho tried to turn his gaze elsewhere, but it wasn't easy. Rather, as time passed, the masculine desire for Sunny became stronger and harder to control. Sunny also felt Jiho's hot gaze from behind with her entire body. Every time that gaze swept over her body, Sunny's entire body heated up strangely. It was the first time she felt a man's hot interest since her husband died. Sunny was flustered, feeling her body reacting unexpectedly. Not only did her heart pound rapidly and her breathing quicken, but the senses of a woman that had been deeply asleep for a long time were slowly awakening. Even feeling the subtle reactions in the intimate parts of her body, Sunny's face turned red. While brewing tea, Sunny vividly felt the instincts of a woman, sleeping deep in her heart, stirring and awakening. At the same time, deep guilt about herself for feeling such forbidden emotions washed over her like waves. To feel such emotions toward my father-in-law. What kind of person have I become? However, intense waves of emotion that couldn't be stopped by reason came crashing in relentlessly. Jiho waited in the living room, blankly staring at the family photos hanging on the wall. But his mind was filled entirely with thoughts of Sunny. Having divorced his wife early and even lost his beloved son, Sunny was his only family in the world. But the feelings Jiho had for Sunny now were definitely not familial love. It was the primal and hot desire that a man feels toward an attractive woman. Jiho deeply blamed himself upon discovering this about himself. He asked himself, is it right to feel such emotions? But at the same time, the loneliness and solitude of having lived alone for too long were inciting these dangerous feelings. How could he suppress the desires of a man that were still alive and breathing hotly, even at the age of 60? Especially in front of a beautiful and mature woman like Sunny. Watching Sunny carefully brew and bring out the tea, Jiho painfully realized that he was crossing an irreversible dangerous line. But he could no longer stop. Every elegant gesture of Sunny, every smile, shook Jiho's heart even more roughly. While drinking tea, the two had a deep and sincere conversation. After a long time. Sunny, how have you been lately? Aren't you very lonely being alone? I'm okay. I've gotten somewhat used to living alone now. Still, isn't it too hard to spend time alone at such a young age? In Jiho's voice, along with deep affection for Sunny, another meaning was deeply embedded. In that word hard, there was a heart that truly felt sorry for Sunny. As a woman spending time alone like this, Sunny couldn't fully grasp the exact meaning of those words. But her heart beat faster than before. Because she felt something clearly different from usual in Jiho's gaze and voice tone. In fact, Sunny's words that she had gotten used to living alone were a complete lie. The deep loneliness and emptiness that came without fail every night, and the suppressed longing as a woman, became harder to endure as time passed. Sometimes looking at her reflection in the mirror, it was so sad and sorrowful that she, still sufficiently beautiful and attractive, was aging without anyone knowing like this. Especially when lying alone in bed at night looking at the ceiling, she sometimes fell into despair, feeling the desires of a woman stirring inside her body. As the sun slowly set, Jiho naturally suggested having dinner together. "Sunny, shall we have dinner together today? It's too lonely to eat alone at home." Normally Sunny would have politely and courteously declined. But today was different. The desire to not be alone and to spend more time with Jiho was much greater. More than anything, she wanted to feel more deeply the strange excitement and tension she had felt from Jiho all day today. The two people carefully prepared dinner together in the kitchen. While standing side by side in the kitchen cooking, Jiho was completely intoxicated by the subtle and sweet fragrance emanating from Sunny. The soft and sweet body scent unique to women. The fragrance of shampoo from her hair, and the feminine scent naturally emanating from her body, mixed together and roughly shook Jiho's reason. Sunny also felt Jiho's intense masculine energy with her entire body and experienced a strange and sweet trembling. The deep and rich body scent unique to men emanating from Jiho and the refreshing smell of shaving cream sensitively stimulated all of Sunny's senses. Occasionally while cooking, whenever Jiho's arm or shoulder brushed against her body, she felt an intense sensation as if electricity was flowing. And each time, Sunny's heart pounded as if it would burst. Both people were flustered and confused by themselves feeling such unexpected emotions. But at the same time, there was joy and excitement in regaining precious feelings they had completely forgotten for a long time. While eating dinner, the two slowly shared a bottle of soju. As alcohol seeped into their bloodstreams, the conversation deepened, and they began to carefully reveal their sincere inner feelings to each other. "Father-in-law, you must also be very lonely being alone." "That's right. I didn't know living alone in old age would be this hard and lonely, especially at night. I'm really the same. Sometimes there are times when I really can't bear it." Jiho felt his heart ache at Sunny's honest and sincere confession, yet also felt a strange anticipation and hope. Along with the thought of being companions, sharing the same deep loneliness, he cautiously imagined the possibility of developing into a deeper and more special relationship. Jiho knew all too well exactly what that unbearable feeling Sunny was talking about was, because he was also suffering every night with the same feelings. As the alcohol took effect, Sunny's white cheeks flushed red like roses. Quite different from her usually neat and restrained appearance, Sunny, slightly drunk, looked even more feminine and enchanting. Especially her expression that had naturally loosened from the alcohol, and her slightly moist parted lips completely captivated Jiho's heart. Jiho was completely fascinated by such appearance of Sunny, and couldn't take his eyes off her for a moment. As time grew late, Sunny leaned comfortably against the sofa and began to doze off. Sunny's appearance, completely off guard from the alcohol, looked much more pure and feminine than usual. Watching Sunny's peaceful sleeping appearance, Jiho felt complex and conflicting emotions violently clashing inside his heart. On one hand, the peaceful sleeping face, like an angel, looked so beautiful. And on the other hand, the intense charm, as a mature woman, made his heart beat. Especially Sunny's feminine features naturally revealed. In her sleeping state, her gently rising chest and slightly parted lips shook Jiho's heart even more roughly. Jiho quietly got up from his seat and brought a warm blanket from the bedroom. While carefully covering Sunny with the blanket, Jiho's hand naturally touched Sunny's soft shoulder slightly. At that very moment, all the masculine desires that had been deeply suppressed for a long time burst out like a volcano in Jiho's heart. At the touch of Sunny's soft and warm skin, Jiho's reason began to waver. Jiho began to caress sleeping Sunny's shoulder more carefully and affectionately. At first, it was contact that started from simple, protective instinct and expression of affection. But it gradually changed into intimate contact with a different meaning. At Sunny's soft and elastic skin, and the warm body temperature unique to women, Jiho's breathing gradually became rough. While he clearly knew in his head that such contact wasn't right, his body reacted completely differently and couldn't stop. Sunny was pretending to be deeply asleep on the outside, but was actually vividly feeling all of Jiho's touches. While clearly knowing it was forbidden contact, an irresistible sweet and thrilling pleasure flowed hotly through her entire body. The senses, as a woman that had been completely forgotten for a long time, were gradually coming back to life due to Jiho's touch. At the same time, deep guilt and confusion about herself for feeling such forbidden emotions also washed over her like waves. But what overwhelmed all those complex emotions was the instinct of a woman desperately longing for a man's warm touch. The moment Jiho's hand moved more carefully down along Sunny's neckline, Sunny's body trembled subtly, as if it were a lie. But Jiho didn't notice at all the important fact that Sunny was actually awake. Rather, he regarded Sunny's natural reactions as unconscious responses in a state of deep sleep, and acted even more boldly and actively. Jiho's touch was heading toward increasingly deeper and more intimate places. That night, Jiho carefully fell asleep on the sofa right next to her, so as not to wake Sunny. Just breathing in the same space, feeling each other's body temperature and breathing sounds. Both people's hearts were heated up. Jiho, who woke up briefly in the middle of the night, looked at Sunny sleeping peacefully right next to him, and was deeply immersed in complex and conflicting feelings. He asked himself countless times, is it right to feel such emotions? But at the same time, he couldn't even remember when he had last felt this happy and excited. Sunny also woke up several times during the night, feeling the warm presence of Jiho. Sleeping right next to her, her heart pounded endlessly. While she clearly knew rationally that such dangerous feelings were sinful, emotionally, she couldn't suppress them at all. Sunny, who woke up first at dawn, vividly recalled last night's intimate and forbidden contact, and Sunny's heart began to beat violently again. It was the first time in her life that she had spent the night at such close distance with a man other than her husband. And the fact that the person was her father-in-law made the situation even more complex and dangerous. But at the same time, she couldn't deny the excitement and joy as a woman that she had forgotten for a long time. When Jiho woke up, the two exchanged awkward yet meaningful morning greetings. But within that awkwardness, along with the hot memories of last night, a deeper strange tension flowed thickly. while they couldn't look each other in the eyes properly. It was clear that they were constantly conscious of each other. While preparing and eating a simple breakfast together, Jiho spoke in a careful and trembling voice. "Sunny, can I visit often from now on? It's lonely and hard being alone." "Yes, please come comfortably anytime. Being alone is getting harder and harder for me too." While having this short conversation, the two looked deeply into each other's eyes. In those gazes, dangerous and hot emotions that completely transcended simple, familial love were deeply embedded. After Jiho returned home, Sunny was left alone in the quiet living room, carefully recalling all the moments of last night one by one. Jiho's warm and rough touch, the thrilling and electrifying sensations she felt then, and the deep joy as a woman that she had completely forgotten for a long time, continued to vividly circle in her mind. Sunny clearly knew that this intense emotion she felt toward Jiho was definitely not simple gratitude or emotional dependence. This was the primal and instinctive sexual attraction that a woman feels toward an attractive man. But it was still scary and confusing to honestly acknowledge the identity of that dangerous emotion. After that day, an irreversible change began between the two people. Phone calls continued several times a day, and excuses to meet increased. The gazes looking at each other contained increasingly hotter emotions day by day. And even during conversations, strange tension and excitement flowed constantly. Both clearly recognized this dangerous change, but neither could mention it first. A week later, something unexpected happened to Sunny. Having been treated unfairly and wronged at work, Sunny returned home and her pent-up emotions burst out, and she shed tears on the sofa. Everything she had to bear alone was overwhelming, and the loneliness of not having anyone to share such difficult situations with felt even more poignant. Why is it so hard? How long do I have to endure alone? Sunny lamented her situation and cried even harder. Just then, a call came from Jiho. "Sunny, have you had dinner?" Jiho, immediately detecting crying in Sunny's voice, asked urgently, "What's wrong? Did something happen? Are you crying right now?" "No, I'm okay. I can hear you crying in your voice. I'll come right now." Jiho urgently hung up the phone and rushed to Sunny's house. Jiho, who opened the front door and entered, found Sunny with her head down sobbing on the sofa. That sight looked so pitiful that Jiho's heart ached as if it would tear. "Sunny, what's wrong? What on earth happened?" Jiho sat right next to Sunny and warmly embraced her trembling shoulders. Sunny cried even harder in Jiho's wide and warm embrace. For the first time since her husband died, she could cry freely in someone's warm embrace. Jiho's embrace was warm and safe, and at the same time, a strong masculine strength was felt, giving Sunny great comfort and stability. "I was really wronged at work. I haven't been there long, so they seem to take me lightly." Jiho's heart ached even more at Sunny's confession. "Seeing you suffering like this because of such things makes my heart hurt so much," Jiho whispered while hugging Sunny even tighter. "You don't need to endure alone anymore. I'm here. From now on, I'll protect you." At that moment, Sunny lifted her tear-stained face and looked up at Jiho. In Jiho's eyes, a deep and intense emotion that completely transcended simple comfort was contained. And Sunny also found herself responding to that emotion with her entire body. Both realized that they could no longer hide their true feelings. "Father-in-law, shouldn't we not be doing this?" Sunny's voice was trembling. But there was no meaning of refusal at all. Rather, there was a desperation hidden, hoping Jiho would read her true feelings. Sunny, I know too. But I can't hold back anymore. At Jiho's honest confession, Sunny's heart beat as if it would burst. The sincere confession of a 60-year-old man completely captivated the heart of a 38-year-old woman. Me too. Whenever I'm alone, I only think about you, father-in-law. Am I strange for feeling this way? At Sunny's trembling confession, Jiho's reason completely collapsed. The two looked at each other and confirmed their forbidden feelings. And finally, Jiho placed both hands on Sunny's tear-stained face and slowly kissed her. At first it was a careful and gentle kiss. But it gradually became more intense and deeper. Sunny completely melted into a man's lips felt for the first time in 5 years. Jiho's rough breathing and the rich body scent unique to men stimulated all of Sunny's senses. All the desires of a woman that had been suppressed for a long time were exploding at once. Jiho also was completely intoxicated by Sunny's soft and sweet lips and the subtle body scent unique to women. It was amazing and happy that he could feel such hot emotions, even at the age of 60. As the kiss deepened, both people's hands naturally began to explore each other's bodies. When Jiho's rough hands gently caressed Sunny's back and waist, Sunny let out a small moan. At that sweet sound, Jiho's desire grew even more, and the kiss became even more intense and deeper. Sunny's hands also fumbled over Jiho's broad chest, feeling his masculine and solid body. The two embraced each other on the sofa and shared a hot kiss for a long time. They kissed not only lips but also necks and ears, sharing each other's body temperature and confirming emotions. When Jiho's lips slowly moved down along her neckline, Sunny's entire body trembled with shivers. "Sunny, are you really okay with this? Won't you regret it?" Jiho confirmed Sunny's intention one last time. "Yes. I really want this too. If it's with you." At Sunny's certain answer, Jiho no longer hesitated. The two held hands and headed to the bedroom, where they began to share true love. Jiho carefully removed Sunny's clothes one by one, and admired her beautiful body with reverence. 38-year-old Sunny's body was full of the deep charm of a mature woman. Her figure, not having experienced childbirth, was still elastic and beautiful. "You're truly beautiful. I can't believe I can see such a beautiful woman." At Jiho's sincere compliment, Sunny was embarrassed, but regained her confidence as a woman. Sunny also felt the still solid and attractive body of a 60-year-old man. Despite his age, strong masculinity and maturity exuded from Jiho's body. "Father-in-law, you're really attractive too. Seeing you up close like this, you're even more charming." The two explored each other's bodies on the bed for a long time. When Jiho's touch gently caressed Sunny's breasts, waist, and entire body, Sunny let out deep and sweet moans. At a man's touch felt for the first time in 3 years, Sunny's body reacted surprisingly sensitively. Sunny's touch also stimulated Jiho's entire body, and Jiho became hot like in his youth. The two finally became completely one. The moment Jiho carefully entered Sunny's body, Sunny felt like she was being reborn as a complete woman. It felt like both her heart and body, which had been empty for a long time, were being warmly filled. Jiho also felt true happiness and peace inside Sunny's warm and soft body. It felt like all the long years of living alone and lonely were being compensated. The two made love slowly and deeply. Despite the age difference, their bodies and hearts became perfectly one. Sunny's soft and sweet moans and Jiho's rough and deep breathing beautifully echoed in the bedroom. While making love, the two looked into each other's eyes and shared emotions from deep in their souls. It was not simply a physical union but a complete mental and spiritual union. At the moment of climax, the two called each other's names and became completely one. After making love, the two lay in bed tightly embracing each other. Sunny, embraced in Jiho's wide arms, couldn't remember when she had felt such complete happiness. Don't you regret it? At Jiho's worried voice, Sunny firmly shook her head. Not at all. Rather, I feel like I'm truly alive now. Me too. I feel like I can do anything with you. The two looked at each other and smiled happily. They were now a man and a woman in a special relationship. No longer daughter-in-law and father-in-law. From that day on, the two continued their meetings carefully. At first, they met once or twice a week, confirming each other's feelings. They went to see movies together and had dinner at quiet restaurants. The times walking in Hongkong Park, holding hands and talking were the most precious to both of them. I don't know how long it's been since I dated like this. At Sunny's words, Jiho answered with a smile. Me too. This feeling is really after a long time. As 2 months passed, their feelings deepened even more. But they also had many worries because of the eyes of those around them. Is it really okay for us to be like this? At Sunny's worry, Jiho said firmly. If our feelings of caring for each other are real, it's okay. When the 3rd month came, a small conflict arose between the two. Because Sunny confessed that the situation of having to hide her relationship with Jiho at gatherings with work colleagues was difficult. Sometimes this situation is too hard. Jiho understood Sunny's feelings. I'm sorry for making it hard for you. But their feelings were much stronger than such difficulties. In the 4th month, they came to accept each other more naturally. Jiho tried to know everything about Sunny, and Sunny also tried to understand Jiho's past and present. I'm curious about everything about you. I also want to know more about you. In the 5th month, the two went on a trip for the first time. They spent a few days at a quiet seaside pension, confirming their love for each other. The times walking hand in hand, while looking at the sea were like a dream to both of them. Is it okay to be this happy? We deserve to be happy. When 6 months passed, their hearts became firm. They were no longer afraid of the eyes of those around them or social prejudices. One evening, the two were having dinner at Sunny's house and naturally opened their hearts. Sunny, I really love you. At Jiho's sincere confession, tears welled up in Sunny's eyes. I really love you too. Their confession of I love you was sincerity, containing all the emotions of the past 6 months. I want to continue being together from now on. Me too. I want to be together for life. Thus the two confirmed their love for each other. A few weeks later, Jiho carefully broached the subject. Let's get married. Sunny was surprised at Jiho's proposal. Really? Yes. What more is there to hesitate about? Let's spend happy times together. Yes. I'd really like that. At Sunny's joyful answer, Jiho embraced her and kissed her deeply once again, as if blessing the two people's new beginning. Birds were chirping beautifully outside the window. A few months later, the two held a quiet and simple wedding. The eyes of people around them were piercing, but the two didn't care at all. Because it was enough to just have hearts that truly loved each other. After marriage, the two shared an even deeper and more mature love. Despite the age difference, their love deepened day by day. Sunny regained confidence and happiness as a woman thanks to, and Jiho gained new vitality and hope in life thanks to Sunny. 2 years later, the two were still continuing their sweet and hot love like newlyweds. People around them also now acknowledged and blessed their true love. Because in front of true love, all prejudices and stereotypes had no choice but to crumble. Sunny opened a completely new chapter in life through marriage with Jiho. And Jiho achieved a beautiful completion of life through Sunny. Their love became a perfect example of true love that transcended age and relationship. One evening, the two drank wine on the sofa, where they first kissed, reminiscing about past times. I was really scared then. At Sunny's honest confession, Jiho asked, "What was?" Myself for feeling such forbidden emotions. I really thought it was wrong. I was completely the same. But I realized that in true love, neither age nor relationship matters. That's right. Because it was real love. The two looked at each other and smiled with deep happiness. Now there was nothing more to hide and nothing to fear. That night too, the two shared love hotly and deeply as always. Sunny was spending the happiest time of her life with Jiho, and Jiho was spending the twilight of his life most beautifully thanks to Sunny. Their love became living proof showing everyone around them what true love is. Thus their forbidden love was completed as true love. Through the great power of love that transcended age and relationship, the two found the most precious happiness in life. It was a beautiful and moving story that showed that true love transcends all barriers and prejudices. In love, there is no age and no boundaries. There is only the heart that sincerely cherishes and loves each other. What's more important than the world's prejudices and gazes is the sincere hearts of two people. Thank you for watching the forbidden love story to the end. If this story resonated with your heart, please press the subscribe and like buttons, and share your precious thoughts in the comments. And we would appreciate it. We will continue to bring you more touching and meaningful stories in the future.